For over 2 years, Michael Oberles was Diddy's most trusted videographer, documenting everything. Then he left town for 3 days, hired a freelancer to cover. Those 3 days changed everything. The freelancer leaked the most damaging footage straight to 50 Cent. Now 50's revealing exactly how it happened and why it took this long to surface. For over 2 years, Michael Oberles was Diddy's most trusted pair of eyes. The 36-year-old videographer captured everything. The star-studded 50th birthday party in LA, recording sessions for the Love album, Off the Grid, even standing beside Diddy's sons at his arraignment, camera ready, documenting loyalty. But September 2024 changed everything.
In a cease and desist letter sent on Monday, lawyers for Mr. Combs demanded that Netflix withdraw the series, contending the footage had been illicitly provided to the streaming service in violation of...
Oberles was building something bigger than Bad Boy Records ever was. A documentary. Diddy's documentary. The footage was meant to tell his story his way, on his terms, when the time was right. For decades, Diddy had been collecting material, building a narrative of success, redemption, and power. But Oberles needed to leave town. Just a few days. Nothing major. He hired a freelancer to cover for him while he was out of state. 3 days. That's all it was supposed to be. Those 3 days became Diddy's undoing.
Where to begin? I think what you kind of take away from this is just like how Diddy's mind works a little bit. You see him strategizing with his attorneys about...
September 10th, 2024, 6 days before Diddy's arrest. The freelancer is inside Diddy's Park Hyatt hotel room in Manhattan, and he's filming everything. Diddy on the phone with his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, strategizing how to reach potential jurors before the trial even starts. Conversations with family members about what's coming. Instructions to the videographer himself. Get cutaway shots of the cops on the nearby roof. Law enforcement watching him from across the street. The freelancer got it all.
How to reach potential jurors, and he's telling his team, like, don't just be going on CNN. You got to meet the audience, the potential jurors where they're at. You have to go on Instagram and TikTok. And then he pivots later and he does a tour of Harlem, his old neighborhood, and he's hanging out with people. He's smiling. He's taking shots at bars. Like
Diddy on the phone with attorney Mark Agnifilo, the words pouring out in desperation. Talking about finding someone who dealt in the dirtiest of dirty business of media and propaganda, targeting potential jurors on Instagram and TikTok. We're losing, he admitted. The confession caught on film.
Taking this all back, apparently in 2023, Netflix either approached or there was a conversation between Netflix and Diddy's team about doing a documentary.
Then came the trip to Harlem. Cameras rolling as Diddy reconnected with his fan base, meeting supporters at a local bar, hugging and smiling with regular people. 150 hugs, a performance for the public, building sympathy before the inevitable arrest. The optics mattered, and Diddy knew it.
Diddy is planning his own documentary, or he's planning something to use with the footage for a later thing. Who knows what, but we can assume that it's for a project down the line, capturing what's happening. And he hired a videographer.
Back in the SUV, the mask slipped. Diddy laughed about needing hand sanitizer. He'd been out in the streets amongst the people, he said, wanted to take a hot bath, feeling dirty from touching fans. His true contempt for the very people he just embraced, caught on camera. The freelancer kept filming. Then Dawn Richard happened, former Danity Kane member, former Diddy Dirty Money artist, filing a harassment lawsuit against him in real time. And the freelancer captured Diddy raging on camera.
When it's filed, when someone says this happened XYZ, and you know that they had a close relationship, obviously his team will deny that this happened, but you see him deny it in that moment, saying this is...
The gloves are off, he declared, directing his son Justin to act, calling Kalena Harper, begging for help.
Yes, you're going to have to maintain your innocence, but privately, sometimes you're like, maybe you would think, okay, yeah, I do remember that, but she has that a little bit twisted. It was a flat-out rejection.
The phone calls to Harper kept coming, text after text, pressure mounting.
So Kalena Harper was also part of Diddy Dirty Money, that group with Don Richard and Diddy. And In Dawn's lawsuit, she references Kalina a couple times, I think 33 times in her lawsuit.
Harper eventually released a statement disputing Dawn's claims. Prosecutors later pointed to this as witness tampering during pretrial hearings. His desperation, his manipulation, all caught on film by someone who wasn't supposed to be there.
Hey, I love you. I need a favor. Can you believe what she's saying? You were there. She's mentioned you. And kind of working to, get her to release a statement. He asked her, I need you to go on the record and release a statement saying this is not true.
When Oberle's returned, the damage was already done. The footage was gone. Not stolen in the traditional sense, just handed over, leaked, sold probably, to 50 Cent and Netflix for a docuseries Diddy never authorized.
50 Cent wasn't lying about this one. The Sean Combs The Reckoning documentary is going to premiere, all 4 episodes on Netflix.
Oberle's finally broke his silence in December 2025, telling Rolling Stone what really happened. The footage in question was not released by me or anyone authorized to handle Sean Combs' materials. It was by a third party who covered for me for 3 days while I was out of state. He squashed rumors about fee disputes or contract issues. This wasn't about money. This was betrayal. The actions of the parties involved reflect the lack of integrity every storyteller should uphold, Oberle said. Taking material meant for different project to advance a narrative that was not our own is both unethical and unacceptable.
Like, I'm sure people are tied into or tuned into something to do with, I don't know the young lady's name, but I know her and 50 Cent have a child together.
Rolling Stone reached out to the freelancer for comment. No response. The identity remains protected. We moved heaven and earth to keep the filmmaker's identity confidential, director Alexandria Stapleton told the press. The unnamed betrayer stayed unnamed. Probably paid handsomely for footage that would become the centerpiece of one of Netflix's most controversial documentaries.
But somewhere in my soul, I think Diddy been holding on to this, looking for an opportunity to come for Diddy, since 50 put out How to Rob.
Diddy's team fired back immediately, calling the docuseries a shameful hit piece, accusing Netflix of using stolen footage, sending cease and desist letters before the documentary even aired. But it was too late. The footage was legal, Netflix claimed, obtained properly. They had the rights.
And he's thriving off of this. Listen, he has
man.
a successful production company. He's putting out great television. So he was like, you know what? I'm definitely jumping in here. At first, I thought he was just teasing. You know how he gets on Instagram and like,
Did he not?
For decades, Diddy controlled his image, controlled his narrative, built an empire on the idea that Sean Combs decided what the world saw. But 3 days, one freelancer, and suddenly, the most intimate, incriminating moments of his life belonged to his biggest enemy.
Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence,
50 Cent didn't have to dig, didn't have to bribe anyone. The footage came to him, gifted, delivered, ready to weaponize. Netflix defended it all. We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights, Stapleton said. One thing about Sean Combs, she noted, is that he's always filming himself. It's been an obsession throughout the decades.
I think it's important to also let people know that the show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. We weren't trying to just get the highlights, the salacious details.
Oberle's had spent 2 years building Diddy's redemption arc. The freelancer spent 3 days tearing it down. And 50 Cent? He didn't have to lift a finger, just waited for the footage to come to him.
Well, and sorry, I got to add this in too. I think Puff is also accustomed to being in control of all of his content.
Yeah.
The cameras never stopped rolling. They just started rolling for someone else. For over 2 decades, Diddy filmed everything. His parties, his studio sessions, his legal battles, building an archive that would one day tell the definitive story of Sean Combs. But in trying to control his legacy, He created the very weapon that would be used against him. The freelancer spent 3 days capturing footage Oberlies never would have released, and those 3 days became the centerpiece of one of Netflix's most controversial documentaries ever made. 50 Cent had been waiting for this moment for over 20 years, ever since How to Rob sparked a feud that never really ended. And when the freelancer handed him Diddy's most private moments on a silver platter, he didn't hesitate. The cameras that were supposed to capture his redemption arc instead captured his desperation, his manipulation, his witness tampering, all caught on film by someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Oberlies had spent 2 years carefully building Diddy's narrative. The freelancer spent 3 days tearing it apart. And in the end, the only winner was 50 Cent, who sat back, watched the documentary hit #1 on Netflix, and enjoyed the carnage he didn't even have to create. The freelancer walked away anonymous, probably paid handsomely, protected by the very people who used the footage to destroy Diddy's reputation. And Diddy, he's serving time in prison, knowing that his own footage, his own obsession with controlling his image, became the evidence used against him in the court of public opinion. 3 days, one freelancer, and the fall of an empire built on documentation, undone by the very cameras Diddy thought would save him. But the leak was only part of it. The real story starts with what 50 Cent did once the footage landed in his lap. December 1st, 2025. NBC News correspondent Chloe Mellis sat down with Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, asking the question everyone wanted answered. How did you get the hotel room footage? The footage showing Diddy days before his arrest, discussing legal strategy, pacing around Manhattan, going off on his lawyers.
I figured most journalists would not disclose their sources.
The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial, even conversations with his legal team.
That smirk said everything, the casual adjustment of his tie, the refusal disguised as journalistic principle. I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources, he told Melas directly. 50 wasn't just protecting a source, he was making a statement. Melas pressed harder. Does Diddy even know you put these videos in the documentary? 50's answer was more shocking than his silence about the source.
I would doubt he knows.
Never before seen footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put the stuff in my fanny pack, King?
Diddy was finding out the same time as the rest of the world. No warning, no courtesy call, no chance to prepare. Director Alexandria Stapleton confirmed it with one word when asked if Diddy's team would see it before release. Perhaps. The calculated cruelty of it. Millions of viewers watching simultaneously as Diddy discovered his most private moments broadcast globally.
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution.
To Netflix's platform Too Dumb, 50 made a stark observation.
I don't think you can get closer. He was documenting himself on his way to jail.
The irony was almost poetic. Diddy filming everything, thinking he was building his defense. Instead, he was building the prosecution's case.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
Stapleton explained what made this possible. One thing about Sean Combs is that he's always filming himself, and it's been an obsession throughout the decades. The narcissism that defined him also documented him. Every moment captured for posterity, for control. Why did Diddy film everything? He'd been collecting footage since age 19. The goal was always to tell his own story eventually, to control every frame of his narrative, edit out anything unflattering, present only the polished, calculated version of Sean Combs. But he lost control of the footage. And without control, all that documentation became evidence. The man who always had the answers suddenly had none. The mogul who controlled everything couldn't control the narrative anymore. And 50 Cent had it all on camera. Netflix and Stapleton reached out to Diddy's legal team multiple times. We reached out to Sean Combs' legal team for an interview and comment multiple times, but did not hear back. They gave him opportunities to participate, to tell his side. He chose silence. That silence would cost him the ability to control how his story was told. Stapleton remained adamant about the legality. It came to us. We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights. She emphasized they moved heaven and earth to keep the filmmaker's identity confidential.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do.
Industry journalist Rob Shooter spelled it out. Netflix is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They don't air a single still photo without teams of lawyers clearing every frame and every copyright. The legal vetting was exhaustive, meticulous. Diddy's team sent a cease and desist letter December 1st, the day before the documentary premiere. They called it a shameful hit piece using stolen footage that was never authorized for release. But the letter failed. No actual legal standing to stop the release. Netflix had obtained the footage legally from a third party, a freelancer who had access to the material, someone in Diddy's orbit with possession of the videos. That's not theft if your own employee or contractor had the footage and chose to leak it. The timing of 50's entire operation was surgical. He waited almost 2 years to release this. Started development December 7th, 2023, the day Cassie's lawsuit dropped. He took his time building a comprehensive case, gathering all the evidence he could find, making sure every legal detail was airtight. And when he finally released it, Diddy couldn't stop it, couldn't sue it away. The man who'd controlled narratives for 3 decades had no control over this one. The footage reveals a man coming apart at the seams, dismissing dozens of lawsuits as lies, strategizing about finding communications experts who specialize in the dirtiest of dirty business, complaining that his legal team isn't working together properly, admitting we're losing in a moment of raw vulnerability. And then there's the moment that perhaps revealed the most about who Diddy really was. After greeting fans in Harlem, cameras captured him completely unguarded in his car. "I gotta take a bath," he said, after touching the people who made his career possible, the disdain barely hidden. That single moment, captured accidentally, preserved forever, destroyed the illusion more effectively than any accusation could.
Went away.
Car, I said, I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. That was, it show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah, I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of a camera?
The documentary became Netflix's biggest release in that window. Millions watching Diddy pace hotel rooms, watching him rage at his lawyers, watching him put on a show for fans, then immediately ask for hand sanitizer. And through it all, 50 Cent maintained that journalistic distance, never revealing his source, protecting whoever took the risk to leak the footage. The question isn't really how 50 got the footage. The question is why Diddy filmed it in the first place. Why a man under federal investigation would document his legal strategy, his private thoughts, his unguarded moments. The answer reveals everything about who Sean Combs believed he was: untouchable, in control, certain that he would emerge victorious. Instead, it became evidence of his downfall, a document of hubris meeting consequence. And 50 Cent, the man Diddy dismissed for 2 decades, became the executive producer of Diddy's reckoning. The calculated silence continues. 50 Cent still won't reveal his source. Stapleton still protects the filmmaker's identity. Netflix still maintains the footage was obtained legally. The mystery remains deliberately unsolved. But perhaps that's fitting. The man who spent decades controlling narratives, manipulating stories, and spinning truth into whatever version suited him best, finally lost control to an anonymous source he can't threaten, can't silence, can't destroy. The ultimate irony: Diddy's obsession with documenting his life for his own purposes became the evidence that exposed him. His need for control became the instrument of his downfall. His carefully filmed footage became the final, devastating proof of everything he tried to hide. Some secrets protect the powerful, others protect the truth. 50 Cent chose which side of that line to stand on. The footage speaks for itself, but Netflix wasn't the finish line, because 50 was already hinting there was a lot more coming. The Sherry Show set, December 10th, 2025. 50 Cent sits across from Sherry Shepherd, who's grinning ear to ear, ready to congratulate him on something Netflix itself probably didn't see coming.
I want to congratulate you, 50. I want to congratulate you on your docuseries, Sean Combs, The Reckoning. It's #1 on Netflix.
It's actually exceeding my expectations now, 50 admits. And there's something in his tone. Calculated humility mixed with pure satisfaction. The documentary hit #1 on Netflix, not just in the top 10, #1, beating Stranger Things somehow. But here's where things get interesting. The 4 episodes weren't enough time, 50 reveals, to include everything.
Yeah, well, everything couldn't make the. It was 4 episodes.
Right.
So it was a lot. You had to pick and choose things. Like even in an area where he chooses to date people who he.
Sherry leans forward, sensing blood in the water. She asks if viewers might see more in a second season. 50's response is perfectly calculated, delivered with that signature smirk. Or, I'll just put it on YouTube. The room shifts. Not might, not maybe. YouTube, free access, no Netflix paywall. Just raw footage, straight to the people.
And all of these people that were coming forward, have there been any new tips that you've gotten since it has been released?
Well, yeah, everyone starts to feel a little more comfortable when they see other people telling their truth about it.
Yeah, so yeah, it's got to be something on YouTube coming.
What exactly got left on the cutting room floor? 50 drops a bombshell that didn't make the doc. Diddy dating Tupac's ex-girlfriend, Sarah Chapman, having a baby with her, daughter Chance Combs, born 2006. Sarah famously dated Tupac in 1995. He chooses to date people whom he knows previously dated someone, 50 says, shaking his head. He has a baby by a woman who was dating Tupac. The psychological warfare never stopped. The obsession ran deeper than anyone realized. And that detail? Cut from the Netflix version. Reports suggest there's 140 hours of unused material sitting in a vault somewhere. 140 hours. Personal moments with Diddy. Additional victim testimonies. Industry insiders speaking out. The Netflix documentary was 4 episodes. Do the math on what's still hidden. Director Alexandria Stapleton explained the initial challenges. Even talking to me or talking to 50, people were paranoid. She told media it could get back to Diddy and his team. The fear was real. Industry-wide intimidation kept mouths shut until he was arrested. Then, the floodgates opened. If you're watching this and there's a lot of names on social media, where is this person? You can probably just assume we reached out, Stapleton revealed. They either declined or never got back to us. The notable absences speak volumes. Social media speculation runs wild about who said no. Jay-Z staying silent, Beyoncé not participating, Mary J. Blige declining, Usher refusing. The list of people who wouldn't go on camera is probably longer than those who did. But 50's involvement changed the game. Stapleton credits him directly. Her communication made them more comfortable, 50 acknowledges. But it was his name that gave credibility. People knew he'd protect them. The trust-building process took months. Stapleton spent countless hours building relationships with subjects, explaining the vision wasn't just salacious details but real storytelling with purpose. Stapleton's biggest takeaway? Sometimes there's nothing better than a great timeline when you're making a doc, to show what was happening behind closed doors versus what he was projecting to the world. It's jaw-dropping.
I'm gonna win. As long as you win, be with it. I'll accept you. I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people.
That hand sanitizer moment became one of the doc's most revealing scenes. Diddy hugging fans in Harlem, all smiles and love. Then immediately requesting sanitizer because he'd been out in the streets amongst the people. the mask slipping in real time.
Went away.
I feel like I need to wash, like I'm dirt. It's showing you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Yeah, I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera?
That's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape, 50 observed. The performance cracking, the real person underneath showing through. The documentary included explosive content, law enforcement recordings of Keefe D discussing the Tupac hit. It felt very important to let those tapes play because they're from law enforcement, Stapleton explained. Keefe D currently sits incarcerated awaiting trial for murder, but plenty didn't make the cut. Kim Porter's death, mother of 3 of Diddy's children. Her passing dragged into conspiracies. Her children publicly rejecting theories. The documentary avoided the controversy entirely. Too sensitive. Kid Cudi's car firebombing. The allegation raised during the 2025 trial that Diddy allegedly ordered a hit after conflict involving Cassie. The Netflix series didn't include it, choosing to avoid unproven claims. The 50 Cent beef itself, nearly 20 years of public feuding, got completely omitted. The documentary avoided it entirely, keeping focus on Diddy's crimes, not making it about their rivalry, making it about victims instead. If someone's not saying something, then you would assume everybody in hip-hop is okay with what's going on, 50 argued. He was drawing a line in the sand, separating culture from criminal. It's one person's behavior, not the entire culture's behavior. The industry has stayed mostly silent. Joe Budden called it a very well done piece. I won't call it a hit piece because they did focus on his success as well. But most others? Radio silence. Diddy's legal team sent Netflix a cease and desist letter on December 1st, just before the documentary dropped.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News today, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release.
Netflix aired it anyway, and as of December, Diddy has taken no legal action against the streaming giant. Director Alexandria Stapleton maintained they obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights. She added that they moved heaven and earth to keep the filmmaker's identity confidential.
Do you think that hip-hop culture was on trial as much as Sean Combs was?
Look, if I didn't say anything, you would interpret it as the hip-hop is fine with his behaviors.
50 already has an Emmy for the Super Bowl halftime show. He believes this deserves recognition too. Told Stapleton to prepare an award speech. I could feel it was going to be big success.
So celibacy, how did that work out for you?
It was cool, because when you hang out with people, when you have zero intentions of that, you can kind of see them a little better.
And so, all right.
Hip-hop is being forced to face an uncomfortable truth. The documentary represents a cultural reckoning, not just about one man's alleged crimes, but about decades of silence, about an industry that looked the other way. And with 140 hours more waiting, the real story might just be beginning. What makes 50 different from everyone else staying silent? I'm not doing this as some personal mission, he told media. I'm telling a story no one else is telling because I don't have the fear that others feel towards him. I'm not afraid at all. Number 1 on Netflix worldwide. Diddy watching from Fort Dix prison. Legal team failing to stop it. His mother's defense falling flat. And now, 140 hours more footage waiting. YouTube releases coming soon. The ultimate victory isn't just the streaming numbers, it's the cultural reckoning. Hip-hop being forced to face uncomfortable truths about decades of silence, about an industry that looked the other way, about power protecting power until someone finally said enough. And when that YouTube drop hits, no Netflix subscription required, no corporate gatekeepers, just raw footage, straight to the people. Free access, for everyone. The reckoning isn't over, it's just beginning. And 50 Cent's holding all the cards.